99.6% of Australian investors do not own more than 3 investment properties. So if you listen to that, rewind it, listen to that, it's very unlikely for a lot of people in this country to become a successful property investor that own 3 or more investment properties. And why is that? It's because the old traditional way of investing no longer works in today's society. Now, if we look at our grandparents or our parents that invested in property 30, 40, 50 years ago, times were different. Inflation wasn't at its level at its peak level than what it is today. If we look at wages, the average wage in Australia back 30 years ago was 6 times the average price for Australian property. Now, today in 2022, where the average Australian wage, I should say, is 14 to 15 times the average wage of the average price for the average price of property in Australia, I should say. So if you look at that, wages have not kept up with the property market, hasn't kept up with inflation. If we look at goods and services, foods, commodities, retail stores and, cars, vehicles, all these things have just been increasing in value, but the wages haven't really kept up with the inflation. And what we're doing here, we're making a mockery of the traditional way of investing because that method does not longer work in today's society. If you follow the traditional way of investing, you'll probably get the same result as 99.6% of Australian investors. Now, I'm not here to put you down or say you can't do this, but I'm doing this video. I've created this podcast, Tantalizing Trio, to give you an understanding of what the fundamentals you need to look out for when you're building a property portfolio. Now, it's only three things that we target. Number 1, cash flow positive properties. Number 2, high growth properties. Number 3, forced appreciation.